students, it is great to see you again. We are on Chapter 3, Lesson 9, so 3.9, and we are on page 209 right there. If you see this girl on her computer saying you've got mail, then you're in the right spot. And we're going to be learning how to place the first digit of a division problem. So let's just read this first and then we'll explain what it means. It says a 3-digit dividend may not have enough hundreds to divide. If so, the quotient should start at the next place value position. So sometimes that's a little tricky to just read through. So let's just take a look at this example and see if we can figure it out from there. Example 1, received 135 emails over 3 weeks. If she received the same number of emails each week, how many emails did she receive the first week? So we need to divide these. 135 divided by 3. When it says she received the same number each week or an equal number each week, we know that we're going to divide. So 135 divided by 3. We can estimate it if we want, just so we know that we're getting something close. 150 divided by 3, 3 times what is 150? 50 times 3. So 5 times 3 is 15 and add a 0. We can estimate that if we want to make sure that the number we get is close. So if we set up our problem, and I'm going to go ahead and set it up on our paper. It's 135 in the house, 135 divided by 3. Now you'll see that when we do our steps, which is divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and do it all again. Dracula must suck blood daily. Do it all again. When we do those steps, you'll notice that you actually can't. 3 can't fit into 1. It goes 0 times. So you can actually go ahead and just put that 0 here. So 0 times 3, now we multiply, is 0. We subtract, 1 minus 0 is 0. And then we bring down, 13. So what we actually did is we placed this 0 there and we just skipped to 3 into 13 because 3 couldn't go into that 1. So now we do 3 into 13. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, 6, 9, 12. 5 is 15, so 12. So we're going to do 4. 4 times 3 is 12. I subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 1 is nothing. Bring down my 5. 3 goes into 15. How many times? 3 goes into 15 exactly 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. I subtract. 15 minus 15 is 0. There's no remainder, nothing else to bring down. So my answer here is 45. So you'll notice that on this paper, it doesn't have the 0 there, and that's okay. What they did is they saw that you can't go 3 into 1. It's not big enough, so they just looked at the next digit with it. So 3 into 13. It kind of saves you a step. So you can do it that way either. Same thing, so 3 into 13. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down my 1, bring down my 5. 3 into 5 is 5, 15. Subtract. So my answer is she received 45 emails. Oops, you can't see that down there. She received 45 emails in the first week. So if we checked for reasonableness, remember this symbol means about. 45 is about 50. We had 50 at the beginning. So we know that we've got the right answer there. We're going to do more problems like this. You're going to get a lot of practice. So let's turn to the next page. Example 2 says to find 6,784 divided by 7. And it again has us do an estimate first. 7,000 divided by 7. We actually haven't done this. We're going to do this later in the week. But if we just do 7 divided by 7, 7 divided by 7, anything divided by itself is 1. And now how many zeros do I have left? 1, 2, 3. Because 1,000 times 7 would be that. So we're going to do more of that later, but that's our good estimate. So here we've written it out, 6,784 divided by, remember I like to say divided by when I'm drawing that in so that I make sure I put them in the right order. The first number always goes in the house, divided by 7. Now you'll see that this 7 is too big. I can't fit it in. So 1 times 7, that's too big. It's already too big. 1 times 7 is 7. It has to be lower than 6. So you can just group the next digit over with it. So instead of going 7 into 6, now we're going to look at 7 into 67. Will 7 fit into 67? Yeah, you bet it will. So 7 times what is 67? And if you don't remember your math facts, if you're having a hard time remembering your math facts, don't forget that you can always pull out a multiplication chart. And you're going to be looking 7 times 1 is 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. What's my number? 67. We got to count higher. 56, 63, 70. So 63 is just under it. So that's 7 times 9. So we're going to put a 9 up here. Multiply now. 9 times 7 is 63. We just figured that out on our multiplication chart right here. 9 times 7 is 63. Now my next step, let's see, we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, do it all again. So now I did divide, I did multiply, subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. 6 minus 6 is nothing. Bring down the 8. 7 goes into 48 how many times? So we're going to go back on this 7 chart and we're going to find just under 48. Oh, 49 is just too big, so it's got to be this one, which is times 6. Now 6 times 7 is, we just did it, is 42. Now we have 48 minus 2, so 8 minus 2 is 6. 4 minus 4 is 0, so there's nothing there. Bring down that 4. How many times does 7 go into 64? Well, we did 63 right there, so that's got to be the closest one. So it's 9. 9 times 7 is 63. Now we subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. There's nothing left to bring down, so that becomes my remainder, a remainder of 1. So the answer we got was 969, remainder 1. And to check for reasonableness, we know it's going to be about 1,000. That's our about sign. 969, remainder 1. Don't need that decimal there, sorry. Remainder 1. Okay. If you need to pause here, go ahead and feel free to finish filling that out. You may pause here to fill that out if you'd like. If not, we're going to go ahead and keep going on. Okay, so these just say to divide. Let's use the boxes since they're here on this. We won't use our chart. We'll just use these. So 5 into 4. I can't do that. 1 times 5 would be 5. It's too big. If I look at my skip counting by 5s, I've got 5, 10, 15. Everything's bigger than 4. So we can't fit it. So we can either put a 0 and multiply it all out, or we can just put these two together. 5 goes into 43 how many times? And we can only do this on the first digit. So we're going to go to 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 45 is too big. We need to be below 43. So here we go. 5 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. My next step, divide, multiply, subtract. Bring down, do it all again. 3 minus 0 is 3. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down. How many times does 5 go into 35? That one, it works out easily. We go along till we get to 35, and we see that that is 5 times 7. Multiply, 7 times 5 is 35. Subtract, 35 minus 35 is 0. There's nothing to bring down, so we're done. My answer there is 87. And it says to check our answer, check your answer using multiplication. So we're going to do 87 times 5. We're going to take our answer and multiply it times the divisor. 7 times 5 is 35. I write my 1s and I carry the 10s. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43. That should be my dividend, 435. 435. Okay, so let's look at number 2. 8, can 8 fit into 6? No, it cannot. So you could put a 0 here if you want. And I like getting in the habit of putting zeros here because later we're going to have to put zeros at other spots in our answer. And I like putting the 0 to help remind us that there's nothing there, but we're holding the place. Now we go 8 into 62. So I've got my multiplication chart. I'm cruising along on the 8s. I have to get less than or equal to 62. 64 is too big, so we've got 56. We follow that up. It's a 7. 7 times 8 is 56. Now we subtract. Can I take 6 apples away from 2 apples? No, I have to borrow from my 10s. So that becomes a 5, and this becomes a 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. Next step is to bring down the 9. 69. Now we've got 8. We're going to skip count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72. What's my number? 69 has to be less than 69 or equal to, so it's got to be 64. 8 is going to fit. 8 times 8 is 64. I subtract. 9 minus 4 is 5. There's nothing left to bring down, so that becomes my remainder. Now we're going to check our answer, remember? So we're going to multiply 0.78 or just 78 times 8. So 78 times 8. I start with the ones. 8 times 8 is 64. I write the 4 and I carry the 10s. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 6. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. 624. Oh, but that says 629. But our remainder, we have to add that on at the end. So 629 is correct. Feel free to pause it here if you need to continue working on those. If not, we're going to head to the next page. Okay, so all of these we're going to have to probably place that first 0. And so we have to figure out where to fit. Does 6 fit into 5? No. But does 6 fit into 57? Yes, you bet. So 6 goes into 57 how many times? 6 goes into 57 how many times? We look at our 6, we need 57 or less. Too big, so it's going to be this one, which is a 9. That goes right above the 7. We're going to practice being nice and neat here, working really carefully on this work. That 9 goes right above the 7. Now we multiply. 9 times 6 is 54, and you're going to notice that the 5 is directly beneath, the 10s are beneath the 10s, and the 1s are beneath the 1s. We were doing 57, and we got 54. Now we subtract. We have to write real little here if we use these. 7 minus 4 is 3. 5 minus 5 is nothing. Bring down a 6. Straight below it. How many times does 6 go into 36? Yep, we know that fact. 6 times 6 is 36. So we write that right above where we were dividing. We were on this 6 here. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract. There's 0. There's nothing left to bring down, so my answer is 96. If you wanted to check your work, you could do 96 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. I carry the 3. 6 times 9 is 54, 55, 56, 57. Okay. Now we're going to do number 4, except this time I'm going to go back to our paper just because I want us to have a little bit more room. So we've got 3,085 divided by 5. 3,085 divided by 5, and this is going to be a space here. Okay, so 5 can't go into 3. It's too big. 1 times 5 is 5. It's already too big. So we're going to go 5 into 30. How many times does 5 go into 30? 5 into 30, exactly. There's my 6. So we're going to write my 6 right up here. We're putting the 6 on top of the 0 because that's the problem we're looking at right now is 5 into 30. So we place that 6 right on top of the 0 in 30. 6 times 5 is 30. Now I subtract. 30 minus 30 is 0. Bring down an 8. How many times does 5 go into 8? Well, we got to find something less than or equal to 8. Yeah, it's just 5 times 1. 2's too big. So we put our 1. Now we multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Now we subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now we bring down the 5. How many times does 5 go into 35? 5 goes into 35 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. I subtract, and I have 0 remainder. So my answer there is 617. 617. And I'll put this here. I'm going to be careful to write it right on top, and we're going to put a star there. Okay, and let's go back and say that we forgot how to place that 0. We can always do it just this way. So let's look at number 5, and we're going to do 256 divided by 4. So say I forgot to place my 0. I just ask myself, how many times can 4 fit into 2? Well, 0 times. Still do your steps. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract. Bring down. Do you see that I have the same answer here? 24 into 25 and 4 into 25, and it's going in the same place. That's why we're able to do this. 6 times 4 is 24. I subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. 2 minus 2 is nothing. Bring down a 6. How many times does 4 go into 16? Yep, you guys know that fact. 4 times 4 is 16. And there's nothing left, no remainder. So my answer for this one is just 64. And this one we're going to put a smiley face. 64 with a smiley face. We're going to do number 6 on the paper here because I want to make sure that we're practicing not on our tracker sometimes so that we can get into practice of writing real small and neat. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to draw these really faint lines if you can to keep yourself nice and organized. And another way to do this, a great way, is actually on graph paper. So if you have graph paper left, we can actually write it on here. 4,527 divided by 6. So let's take a look at it on here. 6 can't go into 4. It's too big. It's too big. 6 times 1 is 6. So let's look at 6 into 45. 6 into 45. Well, if I follow my 6's, I need 45 or less. It's going to be right there at 42, which is 7. 6 times 7. Multiply. 7 times 6 is 42. Subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. 4 minus 4 is nothing. Bring down. You see how I'm staying in these boxes, and it's going to help me keep my lines nice and neat. 6 into 32 has to be equal to or less than 32. So right here it's going to be 30. 6 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. We multiply and we subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 3 is nothing. And now we bring down a 7. How many times does 6 go into 27? Well, we just looked at that. 6, 27, that's going to be that one. 30 is too big, so 4. Put that up at the top. Notice how my 4 is lined up on top of the 7 that I'm dividing into. 4 times 6 is 24. I subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. There's nothing left to bring down, so what happens? That's right. Oops, that becomes the remainder. 754, remainder 3. So we would write that 754, remainder 3. And let's put a star. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. This space in here that they give you is not very much. And so I recommend either using this, but if the lines are confusing you because it doesn't always fit, you can use a piece of graph paper. So let's keep going on graph paper. Let's go down to this one, number 7. Is 217 divided by 4? 217, I write that first, and then I say, as I'm writing it, divided by 4. There's my divisor. How many times can 4 fit into 2? Well, it can't. So we can either put zeros and multiply it out, or we can just look at the next digit over. How many times does 4 go into 21? Oh, I know that. It's 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Then I subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. 2 minus 2 is nothing. I bring down. I have 17 divided by 4 now. 4 goes into 17 how many times? If you don't know, and remember you can look at your multiplication chart, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. It has to be 17 or less. So it's going to be 16, which is 4 times 4. Now we multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. I line this up directly underneath of that. Subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 minus 1 is nothing. There's nothing left to bring down, so that becomes a remainder. 54, remainder 1. You can pause it there if you need more time. 54, remainder 1. We're going to put a big check mark on that one. Okay, we're going to do just a couple more, you guys. You're hanging in there. Great job. I know it's been a while since you've done math. We're just going to actually do, we're going to skip number 8. So cross that one off. We're going to skip number 8. And then let's just do number 9, and then we're going to stop there. Let's do number 9, and we'll stop there. So the first number always goes inside the house. The first number always goes inside the house. Repeat that after me. The first number always goes inside the house. Thank you for humoring me. So I'm going to write that first number, 2,181, and it goes in the house. Remember, that doesn't seem too hard to remember, but once we get to decimals, you're going to forget which one goes in the house. Divided by 3. 2,181 divided by 3. Now let's see. 3 can't fit into 2. If I tried it and did 3 times 1, I can't take 3 away from 2. It doesn't fit there. So we have to place that 0, that initial, we have to place that, and we have to go, okay, let's look at 3 into 21. So I know my 3's, but in case you've forgotten them, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. I'm looking at a multiplication chart. We're going into 21, so it's 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Now I subtract. 21 minus 21 is 0. Bring down my 8. How many times does 3 go into 8? Well, I've got 3, 6, 9. 9's too big, so 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. I subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. I bring down my 1. How many times does 3 go into 21? 21 divided by 3. Yep, that's the same one we did up there. It's 7. 7 times 3 is 21. I subtract. Nothing. There's nothing left to bring down, so my final answer is 727. 727. You can put that on the line and you can give yourself a star. And that is where we're going to finish for the rest of the day, so you don't have to do those or the back side. Keep up the great work, you guys. I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job.